KTN, Nairobi.
Moving on, the Independent Investigative Committee probing organ transplant at Mediheal Group of Hospitals is recommending that the owner, Dr. Swarup Mishra, and 3 others be investigated over their potential criminal involvement in organ trafficking and violations of national transplant laws and ethical standards. The report has exposed damning gaps in the organ transplant practices at the Mediheal Group of Hospitals, including poor documentation, questionable patient sourcing, and serious ethical concerns. KTN's Chebet Birir tells us more.
The report by the Independent Investigative Committee on Tissue and Organ Transplant Services, which was commissioned by Health CS Aden Duale and chaired by Professor Elizabeth Bokusi, has exposed glaring gaps and malpractices in Mediheal's organ transplant services. The task force now wants Dr. Swarup Mishra, the chairman and director of Mediheal Group of Hospitals, Dr. Srinivas Murthy, a nephrologist, Dr. Sananda Bag, a transplant surgeon, and Dr. Vijay Kumar, an anesthesiologist, to be investigated further. The 4 were allegedly involved in an illegal international organ trafficking syndicate where several people have been feared dead and others struggling with serious health complications arising from botched transplants. This is after German broadcaster Deutsche Welle aired a documentary that exposed how Mediheal is part of an international network said to be exploiting poor, vulnerable Kenyans as organ donors. According to the report, organ recipients over the last 7 years includes Africans and even non-African patients from countries like Israel.
An increasing number of Israelis die in Kenya. Basically what happened is that they died while undergoing the transplant, probably in Eldoret.
We have people inside Mediheal who saw what was happening and were giving me this information, and these records came from Mediheal, the persons who are doing this. And I gave this alien ID to be able to demonstrate the real ID of the patient, of the donor, plus what has been captured in the records, for us to know that even as you're going to do your investigations, you must have a third eye on what to be able to expect.
Even more worrying are systemic flaws. Patient records were often incomplete, consent forms were missing, follow-up systems were unclear, and no formal post-transplant audits had been conducted. The only documentation provided was a PowerPoint presentation with no signatures, dates, or official minutes. The task force has recommended that the government regulates and monitors all transplant activities in Kenya. The proposed reforms include a national registry for donors and recipients, clear consent procedures for all patients, oversight of cross-border transplant, and strict penalties for organ trafficking and transplant tourism. Mediheal Group of Hospitals is struggling with a 7 billion shilling debt and over 180 active court cases. Chebet Birir, KTN, Nairobi.
Thanks, Birir.